You will be placed into the conference as a listen-only participant.
Enjoy your meeting. Just a reminder, today's meeting is being recorded.
All right, well, let's get started. I'm excited to announce that today we have on the line Jenny Weinstein from TATA Communications. Jenny used to be our lovely channel manager contact at WTG. And TATA Communications, I think, tripled her compensation, and so she's made the move over there. And also on the line, we have Shoop on the from Ganguly, I think is, I don't know how to say the name, but Shoop is the principal solutions consultant for TATA. He spent 5 years as the senior sales engineer, and he used to be a teaching assistant at University of Maryland. So I think he's gonna teach us very well about the value proposition for TATA Communications. So as I told you both before we started the call, we record these calls. We use them for training purposes. When we go back and we have an opportunity for TATA, our team will go back and maybe review some of the content of the video, audio, visual here. And then we also use it for training for bringing on new sales reps. And we are going to bring on a lot of new sales reps in 2017. So it's part of our strategy. Anyway, welcome and take it away.
Thank you. Hey guys, I need to give you a disclaimer. Shoop and I have never presented together before, and we are not in the same room. So I can't hit him, and he can't hit me either if we say something goofy. But Steve gave us a good list of what we need to go over today. So first I'm going to give a little bit of overview on TATA. We have it on the screen right now. Then we'll do the why, the competitor, where we win, and what's coming up and what's new. So we were in your offices, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it was Shub and myself and a couple others, and we asked the question, what do you know about TATA? And everyone, Steve and everybody else said, oh, you're an Indian company, you sell in India. So if you don't take away anything else from today, we want to make sure that you take away, we are not just, yes, we are an Indian company, but we are global. And so we play in many, many spaces in most of the countries all over the globe. Latin America, not so great. But we just want to make sure that you know that we are not just India. So we are a part of the TATA Group, and the TATA Group, as you see on the screen, owns many different companies, and one of the biggest ones that most people seem to know about when I say I work for TATA is Jaguar and Land Rover. So along with that, the TATA family and TATA Group owns TATA Steel, and well, you can look at the pictures, 8 o'clock coffee, Tetley tea, there's a bunch of them. And when I was checking out this company to go to work for, one of the things that stood out to me the most was, and I read a book on the company, was that 66% of the profits that the TATA Group makes goes back to charities. Not just charities that we give money to, but charities that we actually work with and are involved in. So to me that was super important. Want to go to the next slide, Shoop, since you have control?
Yeah, so one of the, just one point I wanted to make here is, the brand value of TATA Communications is pretty strong. I mean, obviously it's one of the most known brands in India. They say, a legacy of trust of 100 years, more than 100 years now. But one of the things, you should just remember is after the government of the United Kingdom in UK, the TATA Group is actually the largest private employer in UK.
Yeah,
so that's just yeah.
And we have great brand recognition over in the UK as well. So if you're ever on that train from Heathrow Airport out, the entire train is covered in the TATA logo. So we're known elsewhere, and we're trying to get known in the U.S. More and more. Although we do have a sales force here, and we do have offices here, and we're building each day. And the way that we're trying to do this, the majority of the ways we're going through agent base. So I'm going to I don't know what slide you want to go to, Shub, because I know we only have 30 minutes. Shub is our engineer. I do want to get through those questions. Why TATA? And so maybe we can do that first, Shub.
Okay. So Jenny, you want me to field that question?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Okay.
Not in the same room is hard, I know.
No, absolutely.
You pointed,
I'll just try to keep it short and sweet, right? So, this is the generic map of our global network, and it kind of looks like a lot of other maps which other providers would have shown you or you would have seen. But one of the interesting things that you would note on this map is, the TGN cables, right? The TGN Atlantic, Eurasia, Gulf, Intra-Asia, and Northern Europe, Pacific, the TGN tech. So we are the only service provider in the globe today, and I mean by that, to have self-owned fiber capacity in a ring architecture across the globe. And that excludes the consortium cable capacities also that we possess, which starts from the SA network versus the Americas to APC and to. So the ones the three columns in the right hand side here are the ones that we have capacity as in a consortium partner. But whenever you hear the word TGN cable, which is the TGN Americas, Atlantic, Pacific, Eurasia, we self-own these cables. So we have approximately 210,000 kilometers of optic fiber cable running across the length and breadth of the globe, with more than 70,000 kilometers just based out of India. Our second home market was in South Africa, but obviously we sold the company. So one of the things you should remember as a differentiator is it's a self-owned fiber segment, across the globe. Now, obviously, we continue to invest in newer and faster cables, and that is continuing our legacy in being market leader in terms of the cable segment capacity. So we are investing in a cable which is a Japan-US cable complementing the TGN Pacific route, the north and the south route that we have between US and Japan today. And there is also a CBRAX cable, which is a new, absolutely brand new cable, which is landing in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And we are making a foray into the South America market in terms of a direct presence. So we do offer a lot of products and services in the South America market, which is not network based. Network based, we do offer it through partners. But this is going to be a direct foray in terms of large, huge bandwidth capacities that we can sell in South America. One of the things I wanted to point out on this slide is just the concept of Uber, wherein the company doesn't own any cars but is one of the largest taxi fleet in the world, or in terms of Airbnb, which is the largest hotel chain in the world but doesn't own a single property. We've also taken, if you tend to think of a similar concept, we've tried to make the internet fit for business. So TATA Communications today is the fifth largest provider of ISP, or you could say we control close to about 25% of the ISP routes across the globe. And obviously, due to the dint of the submarine cable capacities that we own and operate, we have a total of around 1,000 odd bilateral partnerships with different carriers across the globe. Now, what we've done is we've expanded the capacity, in terms of these partnership segments, and we've expanded our reach to 100 odd countries and 1,000 plus cities. Obviously, it's around 70 plus countries and 700 cities today, and the aim is to reach to 100 plus countries and 1,000 odd cities by the end of 2016. One of the things that you should take away from this slide, and one of the simple questions that you could ask me is, what do you mean by when you say, making internet fit for business? By saying we make internet fit for business is, we can offer a deterministic latency, and I mean a deterministic latency between point A and point B on the public IP platform, which no other carrier in this globe can do. So say, for example, a company is thinking of a very cheap form of, IPsec VPN or a TM VPN solution for, say, 10 odd locations across the globe, but they do not have a full-fledged MPLS based requirement, or they do not want to pay the premium for an MPLS service, which the other service providers have to offer, and so do we. In that case, they could use this service, which is branded by the name of ISO, and have this as a complementary service, to the MPLS service, in which the cost benefits to the customer is close to 50%. So deterministic service on the public IP platform is one of the chief hallmarks of the products and services that we have to offer. So we are extremely bullish on this product, and we hope that you keep this point in mind. Now, what that entails is there is a lot of buzzword around the word of SD-WAN and hybrid WAN that is going around in the marketplace, right? So you have a plethora of SD-WAN providers in the market who come from the equipment vendor space. Now what happens is, everybody talks in terms of applications and how they are going to bifurcate applications in terms of whether you want to put it on MPLS or whether you want to put it on an IP or a second IP connection or what have you. But none of these providers, are going can control the internet at the end of the day, right? Which is where our story of the deterministic internet latency, or making internet fit for business, sticks very well with the concept of a hybrid WAN. Any questions on these two slides? Okay. Okay. So and when it comes to a private connect, right? In terms of connecting to the different carriers in the hosted space, or in terms of Amazon, Google, Microsoft, O365, Salesforce, and you also have IBM Software, which is coming up in terms of the cloud services today. We actually offer direct interconnect with these providers, both on the Ethernet as well as the MPLS backbone. So the cable segment that I just showed you, right, the international cable segment footprint, which spans 210,000 kilometers of optic fiber cable, the Ethernet platform is built on that cable segment. So wherever we have transmission capacity, and we can offer Ethernet services as well. And on top of that cable segment, we have close to 100 odd POPs in terms of the MPLS private VPN across 80 odd countries today. Now that is a service which you would hear from all providers in terms of how global their reach is and how big their service is. That is something we can absolutely match footprint to footprint with respect to the other service providers. But one of the things that expands our reach into the global markets, and we see a lot of the data being moved to the cloud, is how do you enable your end customers to seamlessly reach to these MSPs who actually hold a lot of the content today. So this slide basically showcases and focuses on the North America, the Europe, and the APAC segment, and the data centers that we are connected to with respect to a lot of these carriers. So if you ever come across any customer who is trying to connect to an AWS or an O365 from a private connect or an express route perspective, please do think about that. In terms of the roadmap, to connect to these MSPs or these providers, the expansion that we have in place is in close to 110 data centers and 7 cloud platforms. So that in itself is a very, very huge footprint. So this slide basically showcases the global products and services that we have to offer, and I'll spend a little bit of time on this slide. So my apologies. Yeah. So in the the ones which showcase the global connectivity of its footprint, right? I mean, we have the global VPN network, which as I said has 100 odd ports in 80 odd countries today, which is in turn supplemented by the ISO Internet WAN, which is, again, as I said, 1,000 odd cities in 100 odd countries. And obviously, we are also one of the largest Tier 1 ISPs, ranked consistently fifth across all the geographies, owning 25% of the internet routes. So these all services, encompass the services from a network perspective. When I say from a network perspective, it means customers thinking in terms of a global WAN capacity, or thinking in terms of connecting to their major offices across the globe. So from a transmission or a connectivity perspective, from an Ethernet perspective, and an MPLS perspective, ISP perspective, and Internet perspective, we absolutely offer all these services. Then the network services are in turn connected to the corporate data center services that we have. As I said earlier, our aim is to reach to as many data centers and almost all data centers that these MSP providers are located, because that's where the content resides, and obviously to connect to the corporate data center of any other customer. On the top hand corner is where you would find a lot of value in terms of the value added services that you have to offer. Now what happens is, when you own this huge footprint in terms of the network services, you could basically demarcate your value added services into four portfolios. One is the UCC services, which in terms of your global SIP capacity, your hosted contact center, Cisco WebEx, as we know, has changed the model in which they operate, and are operating on a partner-based model, which is the Cisco WebEx CCA model. And then, we also have an interoperable video platform which is vendor agnostic, platform agnostic, and endpoint agnostic, in terms of a service called Jambi that we have to offer. We also offer our security services in terms of an MDDoS, a virtual proxy, or a hosted firewall, or a virtual unified threat management, data center services, media and entertainment. Now, the service portfolio is huge, right? And one of the questions that was stated right at the start of the presentation is, rather than being a me too, what is your main differentiator in the market? So one of the things that and there are salient, probably we should have noted that in the slide. So one of the things that I want you to take away from this from this slide is on the global backbone, right? With us having such a large footprint, the biggest differentiator is we own the cable capacity that we own and operate. In terms of the global SIP capacity, Tata Communications is actually the market leader in terms of the international VoIP or voice minutes. We do close to 60 billion voice minutes on our backbone, which is close to 1 billion voice minutes a week, a shy over a billion voice minutes a week, which is larger than the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 carrier together. So basically, we are a mother of all carriers when it comes to international voice capacity. So anytime you tend to think of a customer who has a requirement for a global PSTN replacement, or IPFS, or DID, or LNS services in terms of inbound, outbound contact center opportunities, or for SIP trunking for their Skype for Business application, or for a Cisco WebEx, in which they are thinking of turning from a direct model to a cloud provider model, that is where we come into the picture. In terms of the network capacity, Gartner has consistently ranked us as a leading carrier in the APAC and the EMEA markets. So, when you tend to think of the Tata Communication Network, tend to think of us as the leaders for traffic which is going outside the US and not internal to the US. So in terms of WAN management, right? I mean, if there is a customer who has, say, 100 odd sites, with 70% of the sites concentrated in Americas, then we are absolutely not the provider or the best fit provider to play for the customer in that space. But if there is a customer who is thinking of having a global backbone with best of the breed providers in the regional geographies, in the say 1 provider for the APAC region, one for the EMEA region, and one for the Americas region. We play extremely well, in those sort of brownfield, architecture changing scenarios, and Gartner has ranked us consistently well in that segment. There is another.
Question.
Yes.
Are you guys used as the local loop a lot of times in India and China when other carriers are putting in circuits?
Yeah. So China, and let me see if actually we don't have a China-specific slide, but I can touch upon China, and I can tell you the partnership model that we have in China. So there's this company called so you would know, right? China Telecom and China Unicom are basically the two major carriers which operate on the north and the south of the country, right? In terms of the local access when it comes to China. There's this company called China Intercom, which is the holding company, and the sister company which owns the telecom licensing is a company called CEC. Now, at some stage, we wanted to purchase this company way back into 2012, and what eventually happened is, due to the Chinese regulations, we were not allowed, to complete the paperwork, right? But what came out of that agreement or the partnership is that we actually have a very strong relationship with the carrier in terms of a super NNI when it comes to China. Now, if you tend to think of China, we could actually offer you VPN services which is carrier agnostic, so you don't need to worry about the fact whether it's a China Unicom or a China Telecom or what have you. So we have a third carrier which basically would integrate the best of the breed providers within China in terms of some local carriers as well, to provide you the local loop and the MPLS or the VPN capacity if you have the need to. And in terms of the ISP capacities, we also do have a special offer for China, in which we offer some local routes. So what we did for China is, apart from the global ISP backbone that we have, we aggregated some tier 2 local providers in China. There are a total of 12 or 13 of them who have excellent local routes in some of the deep Chinese geographies. And we aggregated that as a single autonomous system, which is specifically meant for the China market. So does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah. So that is what I say in terms of the products and services. So one of the things, as I said, right, I mean, in terms of every time I just click a button, this gets out of the screen mode. Sorry about that. So in terms of the SIP services, right, please do remember that the SIP services that we have to offer are not only a product in itself, but they can be an allied product in other segments, like the hosted contact center or WebEx CCA, or a SIP service for a hosted Skype for business or what have you. So in terms of network, we are extremely strong, as I said, in APAC and the EMEA market. In terms of SIP, we are strong globally. We offer these services in close to 110 countries in terms of the SIP offering, and also do remember that in terms of a full-blown PSTN replacement, which consists of international outbound and inbound, domestic inbound and outbound, as well as the emergency services, we can offer these services in 25 odd countries today, which includes Americas, Canada, a majority of the countries in Western Europe, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and all the major countries that you could think of. So if you tend to think in terms of an aggregated billing, wherein a customer is looking at replacing his PRIs and aggregating his voice infrastructure using regional SIP trunks, we are absolutely the provider of choice there. So Jenny, you want to touch upon this?
Actually, no. I think that we're running out of time. What I do want to say is, Shoop, were you going to say what was new in a brief overview? Overbait? Bleh. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up and new. And then I think the other question we really needed to cover was really quickly in a couple word answer is who are the competitors that we deal against? For you guys as agents, I will tell you absolutely everyone that you deal with now, level 3, China Telecom, China Unicom, all of that, we're not just competing against Airtel. There are many others. So anyone that you consider today for international?
Yeah. So let me touch upon as to who we come across from broad product segments, right? And we can absolutely have a follow-up session with more targeted slides towards these, because this was more of a generic presentation for the channel partner community, right? So when you tend to think of competition, right? Think in terms of a level 3. Think in terms of an NTT or a Singapore Telecom or British Telecom. So BT, level 3, Singapore Telecom, NTT, Telstra. So these are the carriers which are our biggest competitors, right? So as I said, right, Gartner has ranked us consistently the leader in the network and the carrier segment and the voice segment from an APAC and EMEA perspective, right? So there have been a couple of bids, in which we've beaten close to 19 other carriers to win, the network services in the APAC segment and the EMEA segment. So I would say, are one of the largest competitors. When it comes to international voice, and the global coverage is on this list here in terms of ITFS, UIF, and LNS. ITFS we offer in close to 115 countries, UIF in 45 countries, LNS 45 countries. So in this segment, the biggest competitors would be companies like a Voxbone, a British Telecom, or a Level 3. So that is the space that we play in. So Airtel, and I am an ex-Airtel employee. So Airtel is basically a pan-India carrier. I mean, for some odd reason, the company did not expand internationally. TATA Communications is, as I said, right, the largest submarine cable operator in the world. So it does not get bigger and better than that in terms of the international capacity. 100 odd POPs in multiple odd countries, but again, the sweet spots, as I said, right, are the APAC market. India obviously is the home market, so that goes without saying. So we have close to 80,000 kilometers of optic fiber cable. Any and every service that you could think of in terms of India is applicable to us. But when you tend to think of us in terms of any sort of ISP, MPLS needs for APAC. But when it comes to SIP or managed services, that is something that we offer globally. So if a customer needs a SIP service out of US, Canada, the Western Europe, APAC market, absolutely yes. What else can I touch upon? So that would be our main differentiator. Yeah.
I think because we're running out of time, I think that's good for now. I think we covered most everything. Steve, Steve, paying attention?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm completely blown away. I'm completely blown away at how bad my answer was to you when you came in my office that day.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is I know I have a lot of evangelizing to do all over with all of the agents and the subs and the masters and everybody else, because it's not that it's a bad reputation that people think we're just in India, but we have so much else. And so, SIP trunking is huge, and DIA, and we can do things in U.S. and out of, all different countries. So that's our biggest message today. I know we can dig deeper, and we'd love to come out there and actually do something in person. That way I can hit Shoop in person and vice versa. But
yes. Since this session is recorded, I actually cannot name any of the customers, right, that are using these services, because we are bound by NDA. But all I can say is, any vertical that you look at, right, be it the manufacturing vertical in terms of the airline industry, or be it the beverage industry, the food and beverage industry, the largest names that you can think of, or one of the largest running shoe manufacturers, right? Anybody and everybody is our customer on the network, and the SIP services practice or the managed services practice. So, and as I said, right, I mean, think of us in terms of a global WAN. Think global. It's always the global word that should come into mind. Regional WAN in terms of APAC, Middle East, and Africa. Point-to-point networks is a slam dunk for us. I mean, anytime you hear a customer thinking connectivity in terms of US to any other part of the world, or UK to any part of the world, or Western Europe to any other part of the world. So things like a STEM 1 or 100 Mbps or 200 Mbps from US to Singapore, Singapore to Hong Kong, Japan to Hong Kong, Australia to say US. We can absolutely and do that any day. And then obviously connectivity to all these MSPs is a big focus for us in terms of Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Salesforce, O365, and what have you.
Okay, Steve, you can see that we're passionate about it. So if we can, in the future, we're both in California. If we can set something up to do a lunch and learn, if your people are interested, maybe not, maybe they're not interested, but we'd love to come out and do it. So let us know, and I think you wanted to open it up for more questions.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Shoop and Jenny. Are there any questions from our team?
No. I think I asked mine already.
You did.
Yeah, that was a good one, Kelsey.
It was good. What we would love to do is come out with a little bit of collateral too, just some easy sheets for you guys to hold on to. What I'm going to narrow it down to like 5 products that are going to make you the most money right away and that are the easiest to install, things like that, and to get billing right away. So we'd love to come out and do that and drop those things off for you. So let me know.
That'd be great. Yeah, and I'll follow up with you, Jenny. Sorry? Somebody have a question?
Hi, Dan. It's Michelle. I had a question. Since I'm driving, and I tried to watch the demo. But just so I'm clear, if we have a customer, a global customer that has a need for a VPN, you guys would be a perfect fit for them.
Yes. Run by us. The process in doing business with us is everything will run through me, and then I go to Shoop and ask, hey, is this feasible for us to do? If it comes back, yes, we can do this, we'll let you know very quickly, and then we'll go to bid on it. And remember, I'm sure if you've had any interactions with international pricing before, it does take about 7 to 10 business days. So we need to, most customers that are ordering international understand that it's us on the agent side that don't understand it as much. So as long as we set the expectation, I set it with you and you set it with the customer, if we can do it, we'll get that pricing to you.
And I don't know if you guys touched on this. Do you have cloud services, specifically disaster recovery as a solution in India?
Yes.
Do we have disaster recovery in India? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have disaster recovery as a solution in India. What other countries globally would be a good fit for you with that specific offering?
So when you mean disaster recovery services, are you talking in terms of managed hosting, a virtual private context of a cloud, or what is your exact definition of disaster?
It would be more like a hybrid. It would be a hybrid, but more of the virtual hosting.
We do.
Some things on-prem, but for the most part, virtual.
Yeah. So absolutely. So the main centers in terms of the hosted services that we have to offer would be Singapore, India, the United Kingdom, and obviously the U.S. market. So the main data centers are present out of these 4 locations. But if the customer has a requirement for a more complex requirement, or say he absolutely needs a VPDC concept, say based out of Australia, right? We also have a model where we work through our partner data centers. So the partner data center facilities could be Equinix, could be CoreSite, or could be Digital Reality, or what have you, right? And we can rent space and create the custom build for him if the requirement is large enough. But then, obviously, a part of the network always has to be on-net to us, which essentially means, it has to, the main data center should be based out of India or Singapore or UK. And then, we can create the backup with the network services and have the business case built in for the customer, which is a win-win for all of us. But the answer is yes, we can work out if the requirement is good enough. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great question. Jenny, can you make a note to send me, if you can, the deck, and then any other sales collateral that you have. That would be great. I'll pass on your updated contact information to the team. You and I can talk about what we can do going forward with Lunch and Learns or something even greater than that. This has been a great presentation. Shoop, thank you so much for your time and opening up new files in our minds so that we can see TATA in a much better light than I know I saw it. So thank you both very, very much.
Hey, thanks for letting us do this. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I have one quick question. I think you covered it in the beginning, but did you say, or was I dreaming, that you only go through channel? I mean, are you direct as well?
Oh, no, we are direct. We have direct reps, but we're trying to expand the most and putting most of our efforts behind the channel right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's your mix? What do you think your mix is globally?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know that answer. I'd have to figure out. I can get back to you, but I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, and then the other thing is, do you have any knowledge of where, I mean, like level 3 is kind of known for if we bring, a large customer to the table, or they become a large customer, I forgot what their team is. Basically, they take it away from us. So have you gotten any experience with that with TATA?
Yeah, we work differently. So when we ask the agent, sub-agent, salesperson, whatever, to give us the end user name, it's not because we're going to check to see if we're already engaged with them. If we are already engaged with them, it doesn't mean no. It means I go to that team and ask them, can my agent work this deal because you obviously don't have this deal in your funnel. Because I can see in Salesforce if anything is in there that's related to what my agent is bringing me. So if we get a go-ahead because they didn't have that anyway, they get paid on it as well. So we do double payment. So it is a win-win, and typically they say, yeah, go ahead, because we didn't know about that opportunity, that particular one. It was a decision of that customer, blah, blah, blah. So we're very fair in that aspect. There's not a protect.
Does that work the other way as well? So if the direct team starts working with one of our clients, do we get paid on that?
Yeah, that'd be really nice. I wish it were, because I don't get paid either on that. I wish. It is, but if they're in there and they were, it's really ink on paper, but we're more fair going the agent route with the direct people. On the other side, they don't know. They don't know anything about agents, and that's another part of my evangelizing is teaching those people, the direct side people, more about the agent world. And it's been interesting. I've been in the agent world for 16 years, so it's been very interesting educating them on this world.
Yeah.
So if we bring a large customer that's never had business with TATA before, then once that customer is signed up, the direct sales force is able to sell into that account?
You're the owner. You're the owner. If they were in at some different spot somewhere, let's say, I don't know, they had an office in Asia or whatever, and our team over there has something to do with them, we might not even know that. But in the U.S., no, that's yours.
Okay.
Yeah,
ahead.
I can
Sorry.
take a stab at the question, right? So there are a lot of customers that I've dealt with in the U.S. market, right? Who some of the larger ones, right? Who will go through a partner network, and they do not so to say, they will interact with you in terms of trying to understand more about your technical capabilities and your billing structures and what have you. But they eventually will everything is routed through the partner. So if that's a model that is fine with the customer, and we are most happy to accept it as it comes, because at the end of the day, it's business for us, right? So.
Yep.
All right. So process, we just let you know, Jenny, when we have an opportunity that we think might fit it, and you can run it up the flagpole and check it out. So we just, I'll send the contact information out to you. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. The more information, the better. I go to Shoop, and I might have some more questions for yourselves or the sub or the end user, whatever. We'll come back with that if we need some more information. But otherwise, we'll tell you if we can do it, and then we'll get it priced out for you.
Great, great. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, we'll go ahead and stop the recording. And again,